Have you ever felt it? That undeniable, almost electric sense that you've carried something different since the moment you drew your first breath? Perhaps it's a subtle energy, a whispering intuition that seems to follow you, gently guiding your steps, influencing the twists and turns of your path, even when you can't quite pinpoint its origin or understand its pull. What if this persistent feeling, this quiet hum beneath the surface of your daily life, isn't just a flight of fancy or a random flicker of intuition? Imagine discovering that a seemingly insignificant detail of your birth holds a profound secret, a key to unlocking the very essence of who you are, why you're here, and the unique journey you're meant to navigate. If you've ever wondered why your life unfolds the way it does, why you resonate with certain experiences or people, or why you feel an inexplicable pull towards a particular destiny, then prepare yourself. You might be on the verge of understanding a hidden layer of your existence that, once revealed, could change everything. 1. The sacred seal, your birth year's hidden message. According to the timeless wisdom of Buddhist philosophy, the final digit of your birth year is far more than an arbitrary number. It's a sacred seal, a spiritual marker imprinted upon your soul. This isn't about simple numerology or a superficial personality quiz. Instead, it's a profound insight into the deep-seated traits of your character, the karmic echoes of your past lives, and the unique, vital mission you embarked upon when you chose to enter this lifetime. Think about it. This single digit can act as a lens, bringing clarity to so much of what you've experienced. It can explain why certain situations seem to replay like a familiar, sometimes frustrating song in your life's soundtrack. It sheds light on why you consistently attract particular kinds of people, almost as if by an unseen magnetic force. And crucially, it can illuminate why some areas of your life flow with an almost magical ease, while others feel perpetually stuck, as if you're constantly navigating upstream against a powerful, invisible current. Buddhist teachings suggest that this number represents the core vibration defining your entire journey. The lessons you're here to integrate, the challenges you're destined to overcome, and the inherent virtues you already carry, polished and refined over countless lifetimes. This isn't just a reading, it's an awakening, a revelation. Because when you finally grasp the energy that has been an inseparable part of you since birth, everything begins to click into place, and life truly starts to align in ways you never thought possible. 2. Numbers as living vibrations. Unlocking your inner portals. Now, you might be understandably curious, perhaps even a little skeptical. How can a single number possibly reveal so much about me, about the intricate tapestry of my life? This is where the most fascinating part of this ancient wisdom unfolds. In Buddhist philosophy, numbers transcend their mundane role as tools for counting or measuring time. They are perceived as living symbols, potent vibrations, each carrying a specific palpable energy. Consider them a kind of spiritual signature unique to you. When you learn to understand this signature, it can unlock profound insights into why you feel the things you feel, why you attract the people and circumstances you attract, and even why certain patterns seem to play out repeatedly in your life, distinguishing your experiences from those of others. Buddhist monks have long believed that each number possesses the power to open portals, not in some mystical, fictional sense, but as internal gateways. These are doorways to dormant parts of your being, aspects of your consciousness, personality, destiny, and purpose that have been waiting for recognition. Each number is intricately connected to life lessons, old traumas, and even karmic cycles that you might be unconsciously repeating, all subtly encoded within that final digit of your birth year. The most incredible part, you've carried this number, this energetic mark with you always, from your very first cry, your first tentative step. Even without conscious knowledge, it has been present in your decisions, your fears, your dreams, and your relationships. Everything you've lived through carries a whisper of this number's energy. By understanding what it represents, you'll finally be able to put a name to feelings that were once just vague, unsettling sensations. This isn't about boxing you in or limiting your potential. It's the absolute opposite. It's about expanding your consciousness, looking at your personal history with newfound clarity and finally understanding why some challenges felt insurmountable while other paths felt so wonderfully, naturally you. Each number we're about to explore represents a distinct type of strength, an energy that, once understood, can become your greatest ally on this journey. 3. The web of connections, seeing beyond yourself. Before we embark on the journey of revealing the specific meaning behind each number, there's something incredibly important to consider, especially if you're one of those naturally curious, observant souls who delight in understanding the intricate connections of life. Don't just focus on your own number. As you listen, try to identify the numbers of the people who are integral to your life. Your partner, your children, your parents, your grandparents, your closest friends. You will likely be astonished by what you discover. When you begin to understand the core vibration of those you love, your relationships can transform. You'll start to comprehend behaviors, recurring patterns, and even challenges that you might have previously dismissed as just their personality. You may realize these are actually deep-seated aspects of that soul's unique mission and energetic makeup. Often you'll find that these numbers align in meaningful ways, revealing that it's no mere coincidence you and that particular person crossed paths. There's something much larger, a subtle yet powerful force connecting you all. When you perceive this invisible web, this intricate dance of energies, everything starts to make a richer, more profound sense. So watch and learn for yourself, absolutely. But if you can, also watch with the eyes and hearts of those you cherish, because this knowledge has the power to transform not just your own life, but also the way you nurture and understand your most precious bonds. 4. The energy of zero, the womb of all possibilities. If the last digit of your birth year is zero, you carry an energy that is perhaps the most profoundly misunderstood of all. Many perceive zero as representing nothingness, emptiness, or absence. However, from the Buddhist spiritual perspective, zero is the very antithesis of that. Zero is everything. It is the beginning and the end, seamlessly interwoven. It is the complete, unbroken cycle. It is the sacred, fertile void from which all things can be born, precisely because nothing is fixed and everything is in a constant state of transformation. If your birth year culminates in zero, you are imbued with a profound energy of rebirth, cyclical renewal, and constant reconstruction. This can explain so much about the characteristic ebb and flow of your life. People marked by the number zero often experience life in major phases of transition. It's as if at every significant juncture, some part of your life, be it a career, a relationship, a belief system, or even a place you call home, needs to metaphorically die for a new, more resonant part to be born. You may have navigated radical, sweeping changes that, to an outsider, might look like instability or a lack of direction. But deep within, your soul is simply stating, "This chapter no longer serves my growth. It is time for something new." This inherent capacity for constant reinvention can grant you a remarkable flexibility that others might envy, yet it can also bring with it a persistent feeling of never being truly ready or settled. Herein lies the challenge for the zero, the feeling of perpetually starting over. You build, you deconstruct, you begin anew. You get swept up in excitement, then perhaps encounter frustration only to try again. This can be incredibly exhausting, fostering the illusion that you're always chasing something that remains just out of reach. But the liberating truth is, you're not behind. You are simply living at the unique rhythm of your soul, and your soul came into this life to learn the profound art of trusting the flow, even when the path ahead is shrouded in mist. This energy also gifts you with a rare and precious ability to find an oasis of peace amidst chaos. You possess an uncanny knack for seeing a way out when everyone else feels trapped, for transforming ruins into new beginnings, and for summoning strength even when everything around you seems lost. Those around you often have no inkling of the sheer number of times you've had to rebuild yourself from the ground up. The very fact that you are here, now, engaging with this, is a testament to your resilience. You've survived every single time you thought you wouldn't. The most beautiful facet of the zero energy is its inviting nature. It doesn't impose. It gently shows possibilities, opens doors, and suggests myriad paths. You often feel that you can be anything, that you are perpetually under construction, and that something truly significant is waiting for you, even if its exact form remains elusive. And that intuition is spot on, because 0 is the number of infinite potential. Everything, including your most audacious and unlikely dreams, is born from it. To fully live this, however, you must cultivate unwavering trust. Trust in endings as necessary precursors to renewal, and above all, trust in the promise of new beginnings. Yes, there will be times you feel lost, questioning if you're on the right path, especially when you look around and see others with seemingly defined plans while you're still in a state of rediscovery. But this isn't weakness, it is profound courage. The courage to remain true to who you are, even when the world pressures you to conform. Your path is uniquely yours, and the more you embrace that, the more life will gracefully align with your deepest essence. If you were born with this mark, remember, 0 isn't emptiness, it is space, it is freedom, it is boundless possibility. You didn't come here to follow pre-written formulas. You came to forge new doorways and to teach others by your very example that the end of a cycle is never the end of life. It's merely the exhilarating start of a new, more evolved version of yourself. 5. The energy of 1, the trailblazer and pioneer. If your birth year concludes with the digit 11, you carry the vibrant, assertive energy of leadership, initiative, and potent creation. The number 1 is the first courageous step, the spark that breaks inertia, the pioneering spirit that ventures forth, even when the path ahead is uncharted and unclear. Individuals graced with this mark often possess an inner strength that can be difficult to articulate. From a very young age, you may have felt an innate need to make your own decisions, a sense that no one else would or could do it for you, and somehow, guided by this inner compass, you managed, because forging a path where none existed before is the very essence of your being. Those who carry the 1 are frequently restless and visionary. You perceive possibilities that others miss, and you often feel an inexplicable urgency in your chest, a drive that you can't always put into words. It's that persistent sense that you are here to achieve something significant, to leave an indelible mark, to accomplish something far beyond the confines of the ordinary. However, with this inherent strength comes a considerable burden. Leading often means navigating without a map, which can lead to feelings of profound aloneness, of being misunderstood, or even rejected by those who cannot grasp your speed, your vision, or your unconventional approach. Perhaps you've been labeled as bossy, controlling, or too independent. But beneath these labels often lies a soul that simply yearns to move forward, that cannot abide stagnation, and that was born to shatter limitations. Yet, this powerful energy, if not consciously balanced, can morph into relentless self-criticism, perfectionism, rigidity, and ultimately isolation. People resonating with the number 1 must learn the art of trust, trusting others, delegating tasks, and sharing the journey. True leadership isn't about shouldering every burden alone. It's about inspiring others to contribute their unique talents and walk alongside you. The wonderful news is that this innate initiative gives you a rare advantage. You don't wait for life to happen. You make it happen. While others are still dreaming, you are already taking action. While others are meticulously planning, you are already experimenting. And even when you encounter setbacks or failures, you possess an incredible ability to get back on your feet quickly, learn on the go, and alchemize failure into invaluable experience. That resilience is pure gold. It's precisely what propels your rapid growth, even if it sometimes feels like you're lagging behind your own ambitious expectations. But here lies an important cautionary note. Do not allow your independence to become an impenetrable suit of armor. You don't need to prove your worth to anyone, constantly. You don't need to be right all the time, nor do you need to win every single battle. Sometimes true power reveals itself in the quiet strength of listening, in the humility of asking for help, and in the courage of showing vulnerability. You'll notice that when you allow yourself to lower your guard, connections deepen and become more authentic, and paths that once seemed blocked begin to open with surprising ease. Another beautiful aspect of this energy is the sheer courage it embodies. You are not afraid to start from scratch, to overhaul everything if necessary, or to go against the prevailing tide. This can be intimidating for those accustomed to the comfort of the familiar, but it's precisely what makes you an example, a beacon of light in a world often shrouded by sameness. Use this gift wisely, for the world desperately needs individuals who are unafraid to initiate, to begin, to innovate. So, if the number 1 is your spiritual mark, embrace your destined role. You came to be a guiding beacon, not a mere reflection, to lead, not to simply follow. But remember, even the most formidable leader needs rest, requires care, and deserves a sanctuary where they can simply be themselves, unburdened and authentic. When you discover that crucial balance, absolutely nothing can stand in your way. 6. The energy of 2, the harmonizer and peacemaker. If the last digit of your birth year is 22, you came into this world carrying a quiet yet immensely powerful mission to harmonize, to connect, and to build bridges. The energy of the number 2 is the quintessential diplomat, the gentle force that exists between extremes. You are the one who instinctively listens before speaking, who feels with a depth that others often overlook. Because of this innate sensitivity from a very young age, you may have felt acutely different, more attuned to subtle energies, more profoundly affected by arguments or discord, and more easily bothered by harsh or heavy environments. The truth is, your soul arrived with the beautiful gift of restoring peace, but this very gift can also expose you to a great deal of emotional pain, if not managed with self-awareness. People resonating with the number 2 are deeply, almost supernaturally empathetic. You can sense what others are feeling, often without a single word being uttered. This can be a wonderfully connective quality, but it can also be utterly exhausting as you tend to absorb emotions that aren't your own. You find yourself suffering alongside others, caring almost to a fault. In many moments throughout your life, this profound empathy might have caused you to dim your own light, to stay silent to avoid ruffling feathers, to give in simply to keep the peace, or to remain in situations far longer than you wished just to avoid conflict. Perhaps you've often felt like you carry the emotional weight of everyone around you, family, friends, partners. You strive to be the unwavering foundation for all, and even when no one explicitly thanks you, you remain there, steady, holding it all together. Yet, deep inside, you sometimes feel invisible, forgotten, as if the world doesn't truly see or appreciate your tireless efforts, and that can wound you deeply. However, this pain carries within it a vital calling, a summons to learn to prioritize your own well-being, to respect your own needs, and to care for yourself with the same boundless tenderness you so freely offer to others. The energy of the number 2 also carries an inherent ancestral wisdom. You possess a natural ability to mediate, to understand multiple sides of an issue, and to perceive the often hidden truth behind conflicts. This is why people are frequently drawn to you for advice. They trust your calm demeanor and feel comforted by your welcoming, non-judgmental presence. But you must always remember that your mission isn't to save anyone. It's to inspire by your example, to demonstrate that it's possible to live a life of balance and compassion without erasing yourself in the process. This number also speaks eloquently of partnerships. You thrive in connection, in we dynamics, in shared affection and mutual support. The significant challenge, however, lies in cultivating relationships built on true reciprocity, not on dependence. Those with the number 2 energy can often attract individuals who are in need of healing, and if you are not whole and grounded yourself, you risk losing yourself in the noble but depleting attempt to mend others. So, tend to your own garden first, because only someone who is truly whole can offer love that heals without breaking themselves apart. There is also a quiet, unshakable strength within you. Many might mistake your kindness for weakness, but they would be gravely mistaken. Your true strength lies in your consistency, in the gentle persistence that sustains, and in the profound peace you offer even amidst the most chaotic storms. The world desperately needs people like you, individuals who know how to unite where there is division, who know how to truly listen when everyone else is shouting. Do not underestimate the power of this gift. It is one of the most beautiful and vital missions anyone can carry. If you bear the mark of the number 2, your soul has a sacred pact with peace. But remember, there can be no true sustainable peace when you abandon yourself. Balance begins within. So look at yourself with the same kindness you so generously bestow upon the world. Grant yourself the understanding you so freely offer, because when you value yourself as deeply as you value others, everything around you will begin to align in perfect harmony. 7. The energy of 3, the effervescent communicator and creator. If your birth year culminates in the digit 3, you carry a wonderfully vibrant, inherently creative and expansive energy. The essence of the number 3 is all about expression, joyful communication, and forging connections with a sense of lightness and enthusiasm. People graced with this mark are often perceived as naturally light-hearted, charismatic, and spontaneous. From a very young age, many 3s stand out for their ability to bring joy and vivacity into any space, whether it's through their words, their artistic talents, their infectious humor, or simply the uplifting quality of their presence. However, behind this dazzling brightness, there often lies a soul that uses joy and effervescence as a shield. This is because the 3 feels everything with profound intensity. Life is experienced in amplified technicolor, pain, beauty, every subtle emotion. To navigate this overwhelming intensity, the soul of a 3 often creates ingenious escape valves. Boundless creativity, a tendency towards exaggeration, a quick wit, and sometimes a flurry of distractions. You might be the person who consistently lifts everyone else's spirits, but skillfully hides your own wounds behind a carefully constructed smile. You might be the one who cracks a joke precisely when you're on the verge of tears, silently crying for help. You might find yourself always surrounded by people, yet in quiet moments feel a profound loneliness that you can't quite articulate or explain. The energy of the 3 is like a fountain that never ceases to flow with ideas, projects, plans, and dreams. However, this abundant stream can sometimes lack focus and structure. You might find yourself initiating 1,000 different things, diving in with immense excitement, only to lose interest midway, leaving projects half done. This pattern can lead to frustration, self-doubt, and a nagging feeling that you don't finish anything or lack the necessary discipline. But the truth is, you simply need to learn how to channel and direct that magnificent creative energy with more purpose and intention, without sacrificing your innate lightness, but by being more deliberate in your pursuits. You were born with the extraordinary gift of words, of art, of profound sensitivity. You can express yourself compellingly through music, writing, speaking, a gentle touch, or even a meaningful look. When you speak, people instinctively listen. When you create something, a subtle but powerful transformation occurs, because your energy touches others in a way that is both delicate and profound. The world desperately needs this. It needs beauty, it needs truth, and it needs people who know how to alchemize the ordinary into something truly magical. The primary challenge for the number 3 is to avoid getting lost in superficial distractions and to resist the temptation to live only on the surface of life. You possess immense depth, wisdom, and stories that are yearning to be told, yet you often find yourself running from your own pain, choosing to reside only in the colorful, vibrant aspects of existence. While this isn't inherently bad, a profound shift occurs when you allow yourself to dive into your own depths with courage and authenticity. When you do, your creations gain soul, your words gain the power to heal, and your very presence becomes a beacon of genuine light. You are light, but it's crucial to remember that even the brightest light casts a shadow. It's okay to feel. It's okay to slow down. It's absolutely okay not to be okay all the time. Acknowledging your full spectrum of emotions doesn't diminish your essence. It only brings you closer to your authentic truth. And the truer you are to yourself, the more potent and transformative the energy you offer to the world becomes. So, if you were born with the mark of the number 3, embrace your sacred mission to express, to move, to inspire, and to transform. But do so without losing yourself in the process. When you find that delicate balance between your inner world and your outer expression, your life itself becomes a masterpiece. 8. The energy of 4, the master builder and stabilizer. If the final digit of your birth year is 4-4, then you carry within you the robust and dependable energy of structure, stability, and diligent construction. The soul marked by the 4 comes into this world with a fundamental mission: to organize, to sustain, and to create solid, enduring foundations. You are likely the kind of person others instinctively turn to when everything around them seems to be falling apart. This is because you possess the remarkable gift of bringing order to chaos, of discerning logic where others see only a tangled mess, and of patiently building where no one else perceives possibilities. However, this powerful energy also comes with a significant weight. Those who resonate with the number 4 often feel an immense pressure that they cannot fail, that they must handle everything, and that they have to be the strong, unwavering presence at all times. From a young age, you may have sensed a greater responsibility than your peers, a need to be the example, the mature one, the individual who endures, who fixes, who holds things together. Sometimes this can lead you to carry far more than your share, attempting to hold the entire world on your shoulders, while those around you remain blissfully unaware that you too get tired and need support. The number 4 brings with it a practical, rational mind that is sharply focused on tangible results. You value stability, security, and knowing exactly where you stand. You plan, organize, and calculate with precision, and this meticulous approach helps you achieve goals that many others, lacking such discipline, can only dream of. Yet, at the same time, this inherent need for control and predictability can sometimes prevent you from opening up to new experiences or embracing spontaneous change. It can trap you in routines and patterns that, while offering protection, also inadvertently limit your growth. How many times have you held onto a job or a relationship that no longer truly resonated, simply because it felt like the right or sensible thing to do? How often have you ignored a strong gut feeling because the proposed plan didn't seem safe or predictable enough? People with the energy of the 4 need to learn the crucial distinction that firmness is not rigidity, and that being stable doesn't mean shutting out the possibility of transformative change. Sometimes old structures must be carefully dismantled to make way for something even stronger and more aligned with your evolving self. And even with all this inherent rationality, you feel deeply. You simply tend not to show it, keeping your emotions carefully guarded. You prioritize appearing resolved, balanced, and utterly reliable. Because of this, many people may never even imagine the extent of your internal struggles. But the truth is, even the strongest foundations require regular maintenance, and taking diligent care of yourself is an integral part of your soul's mission. The most beautiful and admirable aspect of the number 4 energy is its sheer tenacity. You can fall 10 times and get up 11. You can face crises, losses, and profound ruptures, and still you keep going, patiently building and rebuilding. That consistency is rare, precious, and incredibly powerful. However, it needs to be infused with a touch of lightness, an element of faith, and the permission to improvise now and then. Because living isn't just about meticulously planning every step, it's also about fully feeling and embracing the journey. If the 4 is your spiritual mark, embrace your calling as a builder. But remember, the most important and enduring foundations are those that can adapt gracefully to the ever-changing terrain of life. You didn't come here just to raise walls. You came to create structures where other souls, including your own, can safely and joyfully grow. 9. The energy of 5, the adventurous spirit of freedom. If the last digit of your birth year is 5-5, then you weren't born to stay still. Your soul carries the exhilarating and unpredictable vibration of freedom, constant change, and an insatiable search for new experiences. The number 5 can be likened to the wind, invisible yet ever present, wonderfully unpredictable, and ultimately impossible to contain. People infused with this dynamic energy often possess an inner restlessness that can be hard for others and even themselves to explain. They are perpetually in motion, whether physically, mentally, or spiritually, and they are frequently misunderstood because of this innate need for dynamism. From a young age, you may have felt like you didn't quite fit into conventional fixed places, be it traditional schooling, rigid jobs, or overly predictable relationships. Anything that demands rote repetition and unyielding routine can feel suffocating to your spirit. This isn't born out of laziness or a lack of commitment. It's because your soul craves novelty, stimulation, variety, and ample space to create and explore. When you feel trapped or constrained, your vibrant energy dims, you begin to wilt, and you often fall into a state of internal conflict. For you, living is synonymous with experiencing, learning, and transforming. However, this profound thirst for change can also lead you down challenging paths. You might find yourself giving up on genuinely good things too soon, or impulsively diving into new adventures without sufficient forethought. Impulsivity is both a blessing and a significant challenge for the 5. It pulls you out of your comfort zone, which is essential for growth, but it can also lead to exhaustion, scattered energy, and a sense of instability if not tempered with awareness. People resonating with the number 5 need to learn the delicate art of balancing their cherished freedom with a sense of responsibility, allowing themselves to soar high while maintaining a clear sense of direction. The truth is, you possess an explorer's soul. You came into this world to discover the new and the uncharted, and not just geographical places, but also new ideas, diverse people, fascinating philosophies, and alternative lifestyles. Your mind is inherently open, questioning, and intensely curious. You don't readily accept ready-made answers. You prefer to think for yourself, to investigate, and to form your own conclusions. This is why you often feel like you're consistently 2 steps ahead of others. While the world is still debating an issue, you've likely already changed course and embraced a new perspective. And yes, you might have been labeled as fickle, unstable, or inconsistent. But what few truly understand is that your consistency lies precisely in your movement, in your adaptability. You transform to survive, you adapt to grow, and you actively live the kinds of experiences that most people only dare to imagine. Even when you make mistakes, you learn incredibly fast, pick yourself up, and start again, better, more aware, and more whole for the experience. But here lies an important point of reflection. True freedom isn't the absence of commitment. Rather, it's having the courage to consciously choose what genuinely makes sense for your soul and then sticking with it, not out of obligation, but out of authentic alignment. Not everything that binds is a prison. Some connections, some projects, and even some routines can become sacred temples of expansion and growth as long as they resonate deeply with your soul's core desires. When you find that alignment, everything begins to flow with an invigorating sense of ease. If the number 5 is your spiritual mark, embrace the irresistible call of change, but don't run from yourself in the process. Because the greatest, most transformative journey of your life won't be a geographical one. It will be internal. It will be that profound moment when you can pause, look within, and confidently say, "Now I truly know who I am. And from this place of authentic self-knowledge, I can go wherever my spirit desires." 10. The energy of 6, the nurturing heart of compassion. If your birth year concludes with the digit 6, then your soul carries one of the most exquisitely sensitive and simultaneously powerful energies, the profound energy of love, deep compassion, and selfless service. Those born under this benevolent mark often possess an enormous heart and an innate sense of responsibility for the well-being of others that goes far beyond the norm. They are the ones who care deeply without ever asking for anything in return, who feel the pain of others as if it were their own, and who often carry the weight of the world on their shoulders without making a fuss or seeking recognition. From a very young age, you may have found yourself naturally taking on roles that weren't strictly yours, caring for younger siblings, calming family arguments, or serving as the emotional bedrock and support system for your entire family. Even when no one explicitly asked, you felt an inner compulsion to be there, helping, comforting, and striving to make everything okay for everyone else. However, behind this boundless capacity for care, there often lies a soul that hasn't fully learned how to extend that same level of care to itself. Because the number 6 gives so much, so freely, it sometimes forgets to pause and ask the crucial question, what about me? What do I need? People with this nurturing energy tend to attract all kinds of individuals who are hurting or broken, people who need healing, who are desperately seeking a compassionate shoulder to lean on, a safe haven, a comforting presence, and you provide it consistently and generously. The primary challenge for you lies in understanding that your love, as vast as it is, cannot fix everyone. It's about learning that loving others doesn't mean erasing your own needs and desires, and that genuine compassion isn't about carrying burdens that aren't yours to bear. This is one of the most difficult but vital lessons for the number 6, learning to set healthy boundaries without being consumed by guilt. There is a rare and precious beauty in the way you perceive the world. You see potential where others see only failure. You find light where everything seems shrouded in darkness. You possess the remarkable gift of transforming spaces, healing invisible wounds, and making any environment feel lighter, safer, and more infused with love. But you must always remember that even the most dedicated caregivers need care themselves. Your heart needs moments of respite, and your soul too requires comfort and replenishment. The energy of the 6 is also deeply and intrinsically tied to themes of family, home, and roots. Perhaps you value emotional bonds with an unparalleled intensity, or conversely, maybe you've suffered profoundly precisely because you didn't experience the kind of familial connection you yearned for. Either way, this deep-seated search for belonging and harmonious connection follows you throughout your life. You have a sacred mission to create real, authentic connections with others, with yourself, and with life itself. Just be mindful not to confuse love with attachment or genuine care with a need for control. And even with all this profound giving, remember that you have desires, dreams, and plans of your own. The world needs your extraordinary sensitivity, yes, but it also desperately needs your unique voice, your art, your projects, and your purpose. Loving others should never ever mean forgetting yourself. When you finally find that delicate balance, when you learn to say no without guilt, when you prioritize your own well-being as much as you do others, your energy expands in a way that heals and uplifts simply by its authentic, present nature. If the number 6 is your spiritual mark, embrace your mission to care, but make a solemn promise to yourself that this care will always unequivocally include you. Because when you care for yourself, nurture yourself, and respect yourself, then you can truly and sustainably fulfill what your soul came here to do, to spread love without ever losing yourself in the process. 11. The energy of 7, the seeker of wisdom and truth. If your birth year ends in the digit 7, then your soul did not come to this life to merely skim the surface of existence. You carry within you a constant, profound search for meaning, for truth, for something that lies beyond what the physical eyes can perceive. The energy of the number 7 is one of deep introspection, inherent wisdom, and a natural inclination towards spirituality. People graced with this introspective mark are rarely satisfied with obvious, superficial answers. They possess an innate need to understand the why of things, to dive deep, to dismantle concepts and experiences until they arrive at the very essence. From a young age, you may have felt that you didn't quite think like others. While everyone around you seemed distracted by the external world, you were often engrossed in trying to understand the internal one. You might have been the quiet, observant child, brimming with profound questions that no one seemed able to answer adequately. Because of this, you may have often felt out of place, different, or even misunderstood. But that very difference, that unique way of perceiving the world, is precisely your mission. You came to see what others often cannot, to delve into the mysteries that lie beneath the mundane. The number 7 has a natural, almost effortless connection to the invisible realms, to spirituality in its broadest sense, and to ancestral wisdom. You may not adhere to a specific organized religion, but you likely feel a strong sense of something greater, something that guides you, something that speaks to you through subtle signs, vivid dreams, and powerful intuitions. When you actively connect with that inner knowing, whether through meditation, art, spending time in nature, or simply embracing silence, everything starts to make a deeper, more resonant sense. It's as if your soul remembers the path it's meant to tread. However, with this profound depth comes the potential risk of isolation. The 7 inherently likes to be alone, needs regular moments of retreat, silence, and pause for reflection. This solitude is essential for your well-being and clarity, but if taken to an extreme, it can inadvertently distance you from the tangible world, from practical life, and from nourishing real relationships. Therefore, one of your most significant life challenges is to find a harmonious balance between your spiritual inclinations and your presence in the everyday world, between deep introspection and meaningful connection, between profound wisdom and joyful simplicity. You might be the person others instinctively turn to when they need to vent or seek advice, because you exude a natural calm, a clarity, and a grounding presence that comforts and reassures. But you don't always feel that way inside. Sometimes you too are in pieces. You've just become adept at concealing it. The soul of the 7 only truly blossoms when it embraces authenticity, when it has the courage to show its questions, its fragilities, and its own perceived voids. This energy also brings with it a huge, insatiable thirst for learning, for reading, for engaging in fertile silence, and for acquiring knowledge that liberates the mind and spirit. When you translate this inner wisdom into practice, when you share what you know, when you teach, when you guide others from a place of genuine understanding, you fulfill one of the most beautiful and vital purposes of your soul, illuminating paths for others with words and insights that emanate from the deepest wellsprings of your being. If the number 7 is your spiritual mark, embrace your deep, contemplative nature. But always remember that the spiritual path doesn't have to be a solitary one. There is profound wisdom to be found in a warm hug, in a simple, heartfelt conversation, and in the genuine presence of others too. When you learn to blend your innate depth with the lightness of authentic connection, that's precisely when your soul finds the exquisite balance it has always been seeking. 12. The energy of 8, the powerhouse of manifestation and abundance. If the last digit of your birth year is 88, then you carry a remarkably potent energy of realization, achievement, and manifestation. The number 8 is the symbolic representation of perfect balance between heaven and earth, between the spiritual and the material realms. It is the dynamic force of manifestation, strong leadership, and inherent prosperity. People graced with this powerful mark often feel, from a very young age, a deep-seated desire to achieve, to grow, to build, and to leave a lasting legacy. But what few truly understand is that this intense desire isn't mere ambition. It's a profound calling of the soul. You may have noticed that you could never quite settle for little or just enough. You've always sought more impact, more tangible results, more purpose. Because of this inherent drive, you may have acutely felt the weight of expectation, the constant pressure to always succeed, to support others, and, crucially, to never show signs of failure. When the energy of the 8 isn't well resolved or balanced, life can feel like a precarious tightrope walk between exhilarating success and debilitating burnout. This energy brings with it a natural talent for leadership, exceptional organizational skills, and an uncanny ability to create viable paths where others see only insurmountable obstacles. You are adept at making decisive decisions, solving complex problems, and transforming abstract ideas into concrete reality. However, this very strength can sometimes isolate you, pulling you away from lightness, from necessary rest, and from the simple joys of being, because the number 8 often struggles to stop, to trust the process, and to let go of control. Over time, this can disconnect you from your core essence and lead to a sense of imbalance. People with this vibrant vibration have the innate gift of attracting prosperity, but this flow of abundance is most potent and sustainable when it is deeply aligned with your core values and your soul's purpose. When the 8 loses touch with its spiritual compass and lives solely for external validation or material gain, things can start to unravel. Financial problems may arise, relationships can feel empty despite outward appearances, anxiety can creep in, and a profound sense of emptiness can permeate even amidst numerous achievements. This is because true, fulfilling success for those with the 8 energy isn't just material. It's achieved when external conquests are a direct reflection of an internal truth and a genuine sense of purpose. And yes, you may have had to grow up quickly, take on significant responsibilities prematurely, and constantly prove your worth. You may have faced hard falls, significant financial losses, or deep disappointments in ventures where you invested your heart and soul. But all of that was an integral part of your soul's learning curriculum, teaching you that you can be strong without being rigid, that you can be prosperous without forgetting your soul, and that true power includes vulnerability and self-compassion. The number 8 also carries a strong, often initially subtle, spiritual call. Even if it's not obvious at first, at some pivotal point in your life, you'll likely feel an undeniable yearning for something more. You'll realize that it's not enough just to make money, gain status, or hit ambitious goals. There will be something deep inside you that needs to serve, to make a meaningful impact, to help uplift others. And that's when everything changes. When you courageously align your soul's purpose with your formidable power of realization, you become a truly unstoppable force for good in the world. If the 8 is your spiritual mark, embrace your mission to build and to achieve. But always remember, the most important and enduring structure you can ever raise is the one that lovingly houses your inner peace. Leading the world can be a beautiful aspiration, but leading yourself with integrity, wisdom, and compassion is what truly transforms everything. 13. The energy of 9, the compassionate sage and cycle closer. If the final digit of your birth year is 99, then you carry one of the highest and most encompassing vibrations there is, the profound vibration of universal compassion, deep wisdom, and the sacred completion of cycles. The number 9 represents the culmination of a long and often arduous journey, the closure of a significant learning process that likely began in past lifetimes. People graced with this elevated mark often feel, sometimes without fully understanding why, a profound and pervasive sensitivity to the world's suffering. It's as if their heart is perpetually open, and because of that, often more exposed and vulnerable. From a very young age, you may have felt distinctly different, perhaps like you carried an invisible burden, a subtle pain whose source you couldn't quite identify. You may have experienced a strange sense of loneliness, even when surrounded by people, or a persistent feeling that your mission here on earth is far bigger and more significant than any worldly title, status, or material achievement could ever represent. And that intuition is absolutely true. Those born with the resonant energy of the 9 came to serve, to heal, to teach, and to alchemize pain, both their own and that of others, into profound empathy, and then to transform that empathy into compassionate action. You are often the kind of person others instinctively turn to when they are lost, confused, or in pain, because your very presence conveys wisdom, comfort, and a quiet, reassuring strength that inspires trust and hope. However, you don't always feel that strong yourself. Sometimes you give too much, feel too intensely, and carry emotional weights that are not yours to bear. That is why one of the greatest and most crucial lessons for your soul is to learn to care for yourself with the same boundless love, compassion, and understanding that you so readily extend to the rest of the world. The 9 has a natural, almost magnetic connection to social causes, spiritual endeavors, and humanitarian efforts. You may find yourself deeply involved with projects, people, and stories that touch your heart profoundly. But the ongoing challenge is not to lose yourself in these acts of giving, not to inadvertently take on all the world's suffering as your own personal responsibility. You came to help transform and uplift, not to sacrifice yourself to the point of depletion. Your pain matters too. Your rest is sacred too. People with this culminating vibration often experience significant losses, intensely impactful relationships, and poignant goodbyes throughout their lives. This is because the 9 came to close cycles, not just their own, but often those of the people around them as well. Frequently, you serve as the bridge between the old and the new, between what needs to gracefully end and what is poised to begin. This role requires immense emotional strength, spiritual fortitude, and a level of maturity that you often had to develop much earlier than expected. The most exquisitely beautiful part of this energy is that the more you courageously embrace your innate sensitivity, the more it transforms into a luminous, healing light. You begin to see and understand that your presence heals, that your words touch hearts deeply, and that your own story, with all its trials and triumphs, can become a guiding path for others to find meaning and solace. You become both a compassionate mirror, reflecting their potential, and a steady beacon illuminating their way forward, but only when you honor your own path with the same unwavering compassion you offer to others. If the number 9 is your spiritual mark, embrace your profound mission with an open heart. But always remember, closing cycles doesn't mean erasing yourself. It means transforming, evolving, and completing. And you, magnificent soul, came precisely for that, to be the graceful bridge between what was and what can still beautifully, powerfully be. 14. The echo in your soul, living your numbers truth. Now that you've journeyed through the meanings of these spiritual markers, perhaps a cascade of aha moments has rippled through your understanding. Situations you lived through and couldn't quite comprehend. Cycles that repeated with almost frustrating precision. Decisions that once seemed irrational. They might now be falling into place, revealing a hidden logic, a deeper resonance. The truth is, this number, this energetic signature from your birth year, has always been there. A silent, constant companion, subtly guiding the contours of your journey. It's not a rigid sentence that dictates your fate, but rather a vital clue, a master key, a luminous reflection of what your soul, in its infinite wisdom, chose to experience and learn in this precious existence. You may not consciously remember making this choice, but a profound part of you, the eternal part, chose to be here now. It chose to be born in the specific year you were, carrying the unique number that you do, because this energy represents an essential lesson, a particular flavor of growth that your soul yearned for. To deny this energy, to ignore its whispers, would be like refusing a precious gift, a map offered for your journey, a gentle reminder of why you embarked on this adventure in the first place. When you begin to recognize and consciously acknowledge this vibration within you, everything can change. You might find yourself letting go of so much self-blame, releasing the heavy chains of comparison, and starting to accept yourself with a newfound lightness, clarity, and profound compassion. Many people spend their entire lives asking, why me? Why does this always happen to me? And sometimes, the most direct and illuminating answer is nestled right there, in that final digit of their birth year. This number unveils the kind of energy that accompanies you through life's ups and downs, the specific challenges you are likely to face, the inherent gifts you carry within you, often untapped. When you understand this fundamental aspect of your being, you start to act with greater awareness. You begin to make choices with more wisdom, and you live with a deeper, more authentic sense of purpose. This doesn't mean that life will suddenly become effortlessly easy, or that now that you possess this knowledge, your path will transform into a perpetually smooth bed of roses. No, life is, and will continue to be, a dynamic tapestry woven from choices, attempts, mistakes, and successes. But with this enriched understanding, you walk your path more consciously, more awake, more profoundly connected to your true essence. And that in itself is the real power, the power of living in alignment with who you truly are. Because when you ignore this core energy, when you try to be someone you're not, everything can feel stalled, disconnected, lost. It's like constantly swimming against a powerful, invisible current. But when you embrace this vibration, when you honor it and allow it to inform your life, everything begins to flow. Answers start to emerge from unexpected places. Doors swing open as if by magic, and even challenges take on a new, more empowering meaning. They cease to be perceived as punishments and instead become potent invitations to grow, to expand, to become more of who you were always meant to be. Think about it. How many times have you felt like you were living the same story over and over again? That certain patterns repeated with uncanny regularity, or that particular emotions would hit you like unexpected waves, seemingly out of nowhere. That's not random, those are signs. They are indications that there's a lesson patiently waiting to be learned, a cycle yearning to be closed, a clarion call from your soul urging you to remember who you are and to live the life you truly came here to live.